Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be why jobs are never scarce. In other words, there is no fucking scarcity when it comes to jobs. And I know all over the world there's lots of governments and central banking institutions that have absolutely, completely fucked up the economy, especially if you look in Europe now, and there's a lot of people being unemployed and losing their jobs, a lot of youth taking off and going to other countries to work because there's just not as much availability of jobs and things to work at as at home. And the interesting thing to look at with that is that people are adapting. They're saying, well, fuck it, there's no work here, so they're taking off and they're doing something about it. And then you have the people on the other side of that want to sit there and complain and say there's no jobs, there's no jobs, there's no jobs, I can't do anything, the only way you can get a job is to know somebody. And that's a bunch of crap. And I got a comment here the other day on an article I wrote about how to get any job you want. And this is obviously, it sounds like it's from somebody that's recently graduated college. And he says, in bad economic times, jobs are scarce. When you are fresh out of college and have no professional experience, the only way to land a job is to know someone who can give you one or introduce you for a job. And while, yes, numerically there are a lower amount of jobs available in the middle of a recession or a depression, especially if you look at like what's going on in Europe and some of those countries over there, especially like Greece. I mean, the government has fucked things up so bad because the banks aren't lending and the government is increasing taxes and taking more money away from the people. And on top of that, they're paying out less money by reducing their budget. And so what happens is you have a net effect of physical dollars and digital dollars getting into the economy. And so what's happening is the actual supply of money is shrinking because banks aren't lending. And that's the only way new money gets into the economy is through lending. That's what happens when you have a debt-based monetary system instead of a wealth-based monetary system. But people want to let the fucking central bankers, because they're so fucking brilliant, because they went to Harvard, Princeton, and Yale, make all the decisions for the rest of us. And so this is what happens. You get things that are fucked up. And so, yeah, it's partly true what you said. Jobs are more scarce. However, they're not scarce for people who believe in themselves. They're not scarce for people like myself. I mean, a few years ago when I needed to make some extra money so I could continue my pay-per-click campaigns, I could continue paying my web developers so I could experiment and figure out my business model, I took a job waiting tables in like the absolute worst time when there was no work out there. And first place, I was like, this is where I'm going to get a job. And because it was close and it was a cool place, cool environment, a lot of cool chicks to work with there, a lot of cool people. And so it would make a really shitty job the best that it could. And so I went in there and I went in there. I think I had to go in there 3 different times before the guy got hired. The guy hired me over like 2 months, I think it was. And you should, and after I started working, you should have seen the fucking people. It was like all day long. They're just filing in, filling out applications, turning in applications. And it's like, that's why they're not getting hired. It's like, I went right to the GM and I was like, wanted to talk to the GM face to face, man to man. And I wanted to tell him about me. I wanted him to hire me. And it's like, so I came in, I was like, I walked right in and I said, I'd like to talk to the general manager. And he happened to be there at the time. So I sat down and talked to him. He's like, well, I just hired a bunch of people and I'm not really looking for anybody right now, but maybe in a month or so. And I was like, what about 3 weeks, 4 weeks? And so whatever the time was, I went back 3 or 4 weeks later and I checked in with him. And he says, yeah, remember, he's like, you're not really ready yet to hire anybody, but... And he was like, he says, check back with me in like 3 or 4 more weeks. And so I went back 3 or 4 more weeks, whatever it was. And he was like, oh yeah, I remember you. He's like, all right. He's like, I'll give you a shot. And he gave me the job. Whereas I got it because I was persistent and because I really fucking wanted to work there. And it was the perfect type of job, part-time thing. I could work at night and it wouldn't fuck with my coaching practice during the day. Because at the time, it just simply I wasn't making enough money from it in order to keep just drawing down my savings. And so, I only worked 3 days a week. But the point is that every job I ever went after, when I was in the construction industry, the real estate industry, before I started my own companies a long time ago, I got every single one of them. And sometimes I had connections, but more often than not, I had absolutely no connection at all. and because I believe in myself. And so if you're having a hard time getting a job, the first thing you need to focus on is thinking about what you want to do. If you've been laid off, you lost a job, or you haven't got your first job yet, you're right out of college, you got to have a fucking passion for what you want to do. You got to be excited. And if your attitude is, oh, well, in bad economic times, jobs are scarce, that's your limiting belief. And it's easy for you to say this to yourself, because then you can go, oh, well, that's why I don't have a job. Because you really don't have a strategy. You really don't know what to do. And you really don't want to help yourself very much. It's easier to go to your parents and your friends and your family, everybody, just say, hey, the economy sucks, jobs are scarce, and that's why I can't get a job. Well, I'm getting a job. I got a job, no problem. Over the last 20 years, I've gotten every fucking job I went after. And every one of my clients and my friends and my family that have used the things that I teach on my website about getting a job. And if you look for how to get any job you want, you Google that. That'll pull up an article. It'll tell you a step-by-step specific plan you can use. It'll guarantee you get any job. But this guy's problem is it's easier just to say that, well, that's why. Because he wants something that's easy. He wants to just go fill out a fucking application and turn it in and somebody call him. Well, I can tell you as an employer who's hired and fired literally hundreds of people over the years, that unless you're kicking my fucking door down with your enthusiasm, I mean, not literally kicking my door down, but your enthusiasm, like you don't go away, like you just really want to be there, you want to be a part of it, you're excited, you have a passion for the product or service that my company happens to offer, then I'm going to be inclined to talk to you. But if somebody comes in, I see people like this all the time. As a matter of fact, most people that came in for an interview, this is the attitude they had. They would just email, they would sit there on the internet like a fucking monkey, click, 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 just sending their emails, never picking up the phone, following up on any phone calls and any of that, just nobody's responding to my emails. It's like, no, the strategy that you are using to get a job fucking sucks. That's why you're not getting a job. And it's easier just to give up and throw your hands up and live at home, work, live off mom and dad and do nothing for yourself. But if you want to get a job, you got to choose something that you're really fucking passionate about and you're really excited about that jazzes you. So when you're sitting there in an interview, you convince the person that's interviewing you, wow, I'd really like to work with this person. Because here's why. A-type people don't want to work with B-type people. And the guy that wrote this comment on my website, he's a B player. He's not an A player. And so this type of guy would never get, when I'm hiring for certain positions, he would just hit delete. Delete, delete, delete. I would never even give a guy like this time of day because he doesn't have the right attitude, because I know he's not a self-starter. He's not going to work real hard. And as an employer, you want somebody who's excited to be there, somebody who's like selling you on what a great opportunity you have and why they want it. When you're looking at dozens and dozens of people and everybody's kind of like, oh yeah, I need a job to pay the bills. I'd really like to work here. If you just, if you'd seen what I'd seen over the years, it's like, especially like kids coming out of college, they have like no fucking skills as far as interview skills or people skills. They don't even know what to do. And so, like I said, you got to choose something you're passionate about, and then you got to go and find the companies that have those kinds of jobs that you want. Pick them out, make a list of like 20 or 30 of the top ones, and then say, if they say no, we're not hiring today, say, great, when will you be hiring so I can check back because I really want to work here. And if you have that attitude and you keep coming back, it may take you 6 months or a year to get a job at a certain place. It's like, who fucking cares? If you wanted to work at Apple and Apple's been your dream job and you went to school for it and they turned you down the first time, you got to keep going back. It's like, what do I have to do? What do I need to learn? What skill? Who do I need to get to know? Figure it out. Find a way. Have a passion for it. Because if you don't have a passion for what you're applying for, it's like nobody's going to fucking hire you. That's the bottom line. And so, like I said, looking at this guy, this is what a lot of people do. They just say, oh, jobs are scarce, because it's just easy to do that, because people will do more to avoid pain than they'll do to gain pleasure. And for them, psychologically, just like this guy here, it's easier to do nothing, because to go and put yourself out there, getting rejected time after time after time again, it's a lot more comfortable to do nothing at all. It's easy that way, and that's the way most people are. That's why most people never achieve any kind of real success in their life, because they're not willing to fight for it. So if you find this message of value, you can show your appreciation by going to my website, understandingrelationships.com, and click on the Wibia toolbar and donate any amount that you feel is equal to the value of the information in this video. At the very least, you can share this video with all of your friends and family by clicking any one of the social network sharing buttons, which are located right on this video, thanks to YouTube. And if you have a question that you want to ask me, or there's a topic you'd like me to cover in a future video newsletter, click the Contact Me tab on the left-hand side of your screen, which is also located on my website at understandingrelationships.com. Send me 3 or 4 paragraphs max detailing your situation, and just give me several days to get back to you with a response, because I get a lot of email from the internet, and I also get a lot of it from my paying phone coaching customers. And I got to focus on their emails first, but be patient, and I will get back to you. And if you want to talk to me right away, the best way to talk to me so I can help you with your situation or challenges that you're having is to book a paid phone coaching session. And so just go to the top of my website and click the Products tab and follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.